Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Eric, your California driver. We will just get right into it. We're going to be talking today about the brand new N4 three-way dash camera by Vantrue. This camera came out about a month ago. I am super excited. As you know, I've had the N2 Pro by Vantrue in both of my cars for the last about year and a half. It has changed the way I drive. It's helped me to feel way more safe. I had a really bad accident in 2018 where people tried to sue us claiming that we ran a red light. First and foremost, I want to talk about the drawbacks of hardwiring a camera into your car. I want to be extremely frank with you right now. I was finally convinced to buy one of these. This is a Stanley Fat Max 700. Again, the link to everything in this video on Amazon will be in the description. I would suggest that every single person have one of these in their car. It has a couple things. You can jump your car with it. It has a air compressor, so you can pump up your tires, and it has a flashlight on it if you need that. And also, in a pinch, you could charge your iPad or your phone on it. I think it was less than 60 bucks. It has served me so well. That gray Prius that I've had, the battery had been dying so frequently, I decided I was just going to replace the battery. I replaced the battery, and it initially was better. Over time, the exact same thing started happening. Because I don't drive it every day, it tends to die. Regardless of what other videos say, I would suggest you do one of two things if you're going to hardwire the camera into your car. Number one, I would suggest keeping one of these in your car. Kind of eliminates the worry if you come out from 8 hours of work and you come out to your car and it's dead. That did happen to me one time. And you could jump it in literally like 20 seconds. You could jump your Prius in 20 seconds tops. If you're parked in either in a gated area or you're parked in your garage, there's no need to have your dash cam running, or less of a need anyways. Minimize the risk you have of your car dying and put it away. Now, if you park on the street, that's a whole another animal. If you park on the street every single night where your car's exposed, you want to make sure, you catch if a car hits, bumps into your car, this, that, and the other, you can catch the license plate. There are external batteries that you can add on and hardwire into the dash cam that you hardwire into the car. These external batteries are fairly expensive. The kind of batteries that are on the market actually hardwire into the physical 12-volt battery are charged when you're driving, right? So the battery can go from completely dead to charged in like 20 to 30 minutes. They do run from anywhere on the lower end, the kind that will keep your dash cam going for an additional 12 hours. Those are around $250. The kind that can keep your dash cam running for an additional 24 hours are around $320. Yes, we did have issues, and I just want to make that clear that I'm not trying to skirt around or to disguise the success that we've had with it without a few drawbacks. There definitely are drawbacks to having power continuously coming out of your 12-volt battery. What we're going to do today is we're going to hardwire the new Vantrue N4 dash cam into the car and show you how to set it up. Now, the awesome thing about this is it's the only one on the market like this. There's not a comparable alternative to this camera. There's not a better or a worse version of what this offers. You're, as a rideshare driver, the best coverage you could possibly have from one unit. It has forward vision from your windshield. It has interior vision from your windshield, as well as from your rear glass. You can attach a third camera, which gets the back of your car. So if somebody hits your car and then takes off and turns down a side street, you got their license plate. During the day when you're parked or whether you're driving, this has parking mode as well. If you need that kind of coverage, if you're a rideshare driver, there is second to none. This is the only camera like it on the market. I can't stress that enough. Have not opened it up yet. What's fascinating is they don't actually sell these cameras on their own website. The only place you can get these is on Amazon. It comes with the carport charger, so you can plug it into your cigarette lighter and just plug it into the camera. No need to really hardwire anything. But if you're me, we're gonna go a little bit extra with it. So this is the standard mount and cord. So I actually went ahead and bought the GPS mount specifically designed for the N4. So the GPS mount, it provides two features. It helps you to kind of triangulate your data so you can see on a map. Also, it tracks your miles per hour, which is a really cool feature. If you were pulled over for speeding and the cop said you're going 74 in a 65, and you can go back to this, and this actually has your miles per hour on the reading, so you could go and that would actually hold up in a court of law. It was about somewhere around 20 to 22, somewhere in that range. Now to the good stuff. I don't know how long this cord is, but it doesn't matter how big your car is. This could probably fit in a limo. So if you drive a really long car, you're like, I don't know if the cord will it's gonna stretch. Look how long that's thick. There's the back camera. It's just got 3M mounts for the back. This looks like a replacement one. This is the money maker. This is what they're really selling you. Look at that, 3-channel. I can tell it's a little heavier. The build is a little bit different, as you can see. You know, this rotates wherever you want it. That screen size is massive. Let me show you in comparison. So if we compare the two, look at that screen size from the N2 Pro right here to the N4, which makes it so you can actually see all 3 screens at the same time. That's pretty cool. I did not know that to be the case. You can see that they've made the mount fixture just slightly different so that you can't use the old part. So you can see the microphone vents. It's going to be able to pick up way more sound than the N2 Pro. All the buttons for this one are on the top, whereas with the N2 Pro, they're there on the bottom. I'm not sure what I prefer better. I kind of like them with the N2 Pro on the bottom because when it's fixed up like this, I can still see the buttons. I still kind of have a grasp. This one, you know, when it's up here, I'm not gonna be, I kind of just have to know from memory. In terms of the side, all of the ports are exposed right here. You have your HD port, you have your micro SD, and then it uses a USB-C. So I'm gonna be using my Hardwire kit from the N2 Pro. So man, I'm actually really excited about this. This build quality is better than I thought. I think I'm gonna need a micro USB adapter to be able to use my existing plug from the N2 Pro on the N4. Also, one of the core upgrades on the N4 is it now, without having to do a software or firmware update, it supports a 256 gigabyte micro SD card, whereas the other one out of the box was only rated for 64 gigabytes. Now, in terms of being able to pull the storage off and upload footage from your camera, or to be able to show it to officers or whatever the case may be, to be able to use the footage for anything, there are 3 different options. One, when you buy the SD card, it comes with a little SD adapter, and most computers still have an SD slot. You could plug that straight into your computer. If you don't have that, you can also just plug it into an adapter. Or last but not least, you can literally just plug this into your computer via a USB slot. Those are the 3 options. Personally, I like being able to leave my camera in the car. 256 gigs. So you'll be able to record continuously for your entire day. If you drive 12 hours, you can keep all 12 hours of footage on 256 gigs on all 3 cameras without having any new footage riding over the old footage from the beginning of the day. So that's pretty legit. Again, wiring this into the car is not hard. Anyone can do this. The only tool you will need is this. I'll just use the blunt end of a box cutter to be able to push up into the lining. So going in the headliner to the post right here, along the top of the headliner, that you might have to, this is why you need this tool, because you might have to pry it back a little bit in order to fit the cord underneath. You're gonna run it right through here to the weather stripping. Once you get to here, you can literally just pull this back. It goes right underneath, right along here. Open up the door, you go right here, right along underneath. And then once we get there, then I'll show you exactly which fuse to pull out. At least in your Prius, I don't know every vehicle, but you're gonna be looking for something with continuous power in order to be able to record when the car's off. The box doesn't come with an add a fuse kit, but when you buy the Hardwire kit from Vantrue, it comes with all the add a fuses. You don't need to buy that separately. The box came with like 4 different ones. Whichever kind of fuse insert that you have on your car, it will fit right out of the box. For the N2 Pro, I think I spent 20 to 25 on this kit. I'm not gonna buy this again, but I will leave the link for not only the N2 Pro one, as well as the N4, and I'm going to have to buy that adapter because that is not going to plug into the camera as is. So step 1, we're actually going to mount the camera first before we start hardwiring anything. And we're gonna do that because then we know exactly how much cord we need to recess. And I'm actually pretty stoked about this GPS version. I prefer this to be centered in the car. If I'm gonna have passengers in here, I wanna make sure that the camera is getting directly through the middle to the back. I don't want one headrest in the way on either side, even though it'd be much easier to put it probably on the passenger side and be out of my way. I want it right at, man, this is heavy. I want it right in the middle. I mean, this, you want it below the rear view mirror because you're gonna need to be able to have this camera expose what's in the car. So you can see it's straight up and down. We want that camera shooting straight into the back of the car. That's about dead center. And the reason why we want that again is so it gets the best view we can of the back seat. As you can see, it's below my rear view mirror, so that way it's not blocking. The top of the viewing part might be, so I don't really care about looking at people's hats as much as I want to see what they're doing in my back seat. They got a razor blade cutting up my seats. Next, what we're gonna do, we're gonna just measure out how much of this cord we want extended out so that we can recess as much as possible and have it nice and tight. One thing I left out, we are going to be using these 3M Command decorating clips to clip the wire as close to that center post as we can. And I'll leave a link for these as well. This mount actually has the power supply for the camera, and that USB-C mount will go in there. And then the side is actually just for the rear camera. So we're gonna hardwire that rear camera, and we do have the USB-C cord for the rear camera to go in. So we'll be able to link that in. Just to get it powered up, we're gonna need that adapter for the top of the GPS mount. Do it right, all we need is about this much cord exposed. The rest is gonna be recessed. And don't worry if you look kind of stupid doing this. I always do, and that's okay. Don't get upset if it takes you a little bit to get it in the headliner. This is by far the hardest part. Once you get past this, it's pretty much smooth sailing. It just means that your car isn't gonna fall apart, right? Your headliner is not, you can't just pry it down with your hands. You can only go like 2 inches at a time, and it takes a little bit of elbow grease to get it in. Once we get to that point right there, it's just in the weather stripping, which you can just pull back basically with your finger and just slide it in. So slide in. Once we get down to that part, I just pulled back that plastic panel just a little bit. I slipped it in there, and now we're at this point. So if you look up inside there, you see that you have a second fuse box. In the front of your car, there's another fuse box. This one, that plate comes off. It tells you what everything is. Now, if you're not familiar with looking at this interior fuse box, or you're just learning that this is there, everything down the middle has continuous power. Example, the power seats, OBD2 sensor, etc. What we're gonna be looking for is probably that OBD sensor right there. Your 30 amp, that's the seats. So I want that one right there. And there's actually a tool. If we open up the hood, so you have, most of you are familiar with this fuse box. Inside of this fuse box is a tool to get the fuses out. Sometimes you need a tool just to get that out. So that tool right there is in everyone's car, and this will help us get the fuse out that we want. All right, we were able to grab it. The add a fuse portion that comes with the Hardwire kit. I'm gonna take this fuse, I'm gonna put it into the add a fuse, just like that, and I'm gonna put it directly back into that OBD port. You hear that? That's a good sign. One last thing though, is we need to ground it. So this needs to get ground on some kind of metal. It just so happens there is metal right there, and we're just going to unscrew that bolt, slide that underneath. Probably isn't the best tool for it, but it'll work. Is just sliding it under there. It's going absolutely nowhere. So now we have all this cord, and all we're gonna do is just drop it right back here. But I mean, from up here, you really can't tell at all. And there you go. So now it's hardwired, and that front camera is all done. So now we're gonna work on the rear camera. But this top window is tinted, and this one's a little bit more clear. So I'm gonna wanna put the adhesive right up there. The only thing that's a little bit problematic, and you'll be able to see as you turn around, that cord is gonna be exposed at some point when I draw it in. The weather stripping's right here. I'm gonna want it to go in about here and down here. As you can see, I mean, there's gonna be a little bit of exposure, and we'd wanna make sure that it's not too taut because we could tear it and lose connection. Unlike the front that we can continually move, we get one shot at it. It's got the 3M stripping, so we're not gonna stick this to the back until we know exactly where we want it. Thinking a flathead screwdriver might be a little better for this. So I'm gonna start with it right here and just kind of tape it exactly where we want it to come out. Remember, don't damage your car, don't damage the cord. If we do that, then we're winners. All right, we at least got it in that crack right there. I'm still not entirely sure what we're gonna do. We might just hold this up with command hooks because it's really tough to get that off. I don't really want to take this piece off the car, but at least we got that cord kind of wedged in there. Then we can run it down along the side here. That's a little bit of what I was afraid of, but it might not be the worst thing in the world. Remember, right here we want just enough slack. We don't want it to ever have the risk of yanking out because we open the trunk. So we want just enough slack so that it can extend properly every single time. Once we get to the lining right here, it's kind of smooth sailing once again. I go through here. It's been tough. It is tough to get it through here. I'm trying to like pry it off. I think what we're gonna do is just shove it through without having to rip it off completely. Oh, great success. Now that I've got it through here, again, that was not easy. I kind of had to pull this off, slide it through, and then use the screwdriver to grab it on the other side, and then pull the rest of the slack through. So then I went up through the headliner right here. Here I am. Now I have enough cable to get to the top. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in. And that kind of gives me an idea of what I'm working with here. I can always pull this slack back out if I need it. I wish there were a way that I could hide this better. I don't think there is. I think if you want the rear camera, you're kind of stuck having that cord exposed. But as for everything else, it goes right in the headliner, and we'll clean this up. We'll make it look nice and pretty. As far as the back, let's go ahead and... All right, so I did decide it didn't need to be over here. I moved it to right here. Once we finally plug that in and tighten it up, it'll go about right there, and then we'll use those command hooks. I mean, that's not too tight. There's plenty of wiggle in there. When we close it, we can see it's gonna bend, and then we can snap everything back into place. I put it in exactly where I wanted it. Again, you can rotate this camera. Now I'm gonna use the command hooks and get that. So I've officially got it in there. Did it about as well as I could. So you can see, regardless of how good or bad you did, it's really tough to tell it's even there. See, if I zoom in real close, you can see it. But if I step away, you really can't even tell that it's even there. I mean, it looks pretty good. There's just that little bit of cord right there. The main camera took about 15 minutes to hardwire. I've done it before. It's super simple. The process is so easy. I mean, the cord just goes right, literally right down the side. The back camera, however, that was a bit of a challenge. It took me probably about 90 minutes, and it's tough to gauge because I was filming, trying to get good angles and stuff. If I were to do it again, I'd say it'd still probably take me about 30 to 45 minutes to run it and get it exactly where I wanted. I was able to hide all the extra length for the back camera cable up in this wing right here. And that's probably what I'd suggest you do. You know, you don't want to try to eyeball it and hide the cord in other places, then run out when you get to the top and have to pull it all the way out and go back through. Now all I need to do is go get USB-C connectors. I finally got this dumb piece, not a micro USB, but a mini USB leading to a USB-C. So the Vantrue N4 takes USB-C, but the old Hardwire kit is a mini USB. Rather than buy a new Hardwire kit, I wanted to buy one of these. Oh, let's go! Let's go! It's so silly. That little piece was holding me back from greatness. Also, due to the quarantine, apparently barbers are not essential businesses, which makes me really sad. I really need a haircut. There you go. There's what it looks like from the driver perspective. It is recording right now. And remember, as I said before, if you're parked in your driveway when you're at home, this will drain your battery. I learned by sad experience that is the case. You want to preserve your battery as long as you can, and you do not want to buy one of those $300 external batteries that hardwires into your car. Unplug from your mount up here every time you come in, or just take the camera off. It's not hard to do, and it will definitely preserve the life of your battery. But I mean, that's about as clean as you can get. I really can't do anything more with this rear cable. Still not taking this screen protector off. I can do that right now. There you go. That's what the screen looks like. You can see me right there with the phone. But this rotates independently. This also pivots and swivels. And then the back camera doesn't swivel side to side, but it goes up and down. When you put it in, make sure you put it in exactly where you want it. You know, I did a pretty good job. That outside window is tinted, but a couple of those little 3M hooks, I didn't wait long enough. I got impatient. They came off. I can do that again, but not too bad. Other than that, there's no cord showing anywhere along the car. It's literally just run up through headliners and all the way around up here. Most of the excess is tucked right under there. And then that's really all you see is that right there. I think the only thing to do now is pop the SIM card out. So pop that out. Got my card reader that I keep in the car so I don't lose it. Put my 256 gig Samsung card in there, and I can pop that right into my computer. If you don't have an SD slot in your computer or a micro SD slot, there are plenty of card readers that you can plug into, and I'll leave a link. Now we're gonna go into what the actual video looks like. Here is the camera facing forward. I mean, it looks extremely clear from here. And I know I have to update the date and the time and whatever, just hang with me. There's the interior camera, not too bad. I mean, I can always lower it so that it's out of the way of the rear view mirror a little bit, but I kind of just like that angle, and I don't really have a desire to change it too much. As long as you can see the top of everyone's head in the back, that's all that really matters to me. Like I said before, you can rotate this up and down anyway, so I can leave the camera facing forward right there and turn that camera wherever I want. I just kind of think it looks just fine right there. And I don't want it too much in my way while I'm driving. So I'm okay having a little bit of this rear view mirror in there. Obviously the finale is the feature that they've added, and here's what the back camera looks like. Now I'm gonna go stand outside. Here, I'm gonna take my license plates that are not on the car and see how well you can see them. These plates are not on my car. Well, you can be the judge, and you let me know what you think, if it's a good investment or not. I think that it's absolutely fantastic. The peace of mind that it gives me, knowing that I can see all angles of my car, is invaluable. So this is a bit more expensive than you can get in N2 Pro for. Right now, I haven't seen too many used N4s out there, so you're gonna have to pony up and pay for it. They only sell it on Amazon, which is good for me because the price is the same regardless if you use my link or not. But if you go through my link to buy this, I do get a little bit of a kickback, which I do appreciate. It helps give me the motivation to keep going. Everything that I've talked about in this video is linked in the description below. This was a little bit time consuming. Like I said, it was a bit difficult to hardwire the rear camera. That was not easy. That was the longest portion of this whole thing. You can do the front facing camera in 15 minutes tops, but this back camera, if you want to recess the cord the way I did, it's going to take a little bit of elbow grease, but it is absolutely worth it in the end. It looks very clean, looks professional, and you guys will be super satisfied with it. If you like the video, guys, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If there are some things about the way I decided to wire my camera that you would have done differently or you have done differently, please let me know in the comments below. Also, if there's something that you may have thought of that I left out, please go ahead and leave that. I try to get to every comment, especially ones that have questions in it, even the ones with criticism. So I appreciate them all. And as always, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Everything I showed you in the video there's a link in the description. Obviously, if you click and go to the stuff on Amazon, I do get a kickback from my affiliate links, but the other things I do not. It's just so I can show you where I got the things that I bought, and hopefully that helps you out. As always, guys, God bless you. Have a great day.